Bad, yeah. He gets scared.
He's not agile inside the pocket.
He could be. He has the athleticism, but he doesn't want to. I said we need to trade home.
Happy Friday to everybody. Hopefully everybody out there is getting excited for the weekend. He's Ramie. I'm Cattles and Ramie. We are live from the International Sportsman's Expo at the Cal Expo. Ramie, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Feeling good.
Feeling
We're out
fantastic.
here among sportsmen, Nick.
We are. There's lots of sports.
Lots of sportsmen out here.
Although I will say this, we are above the people.
Yes.
So nobody's
Only in our physical location. We're
Yes.
not saying we're better than anybody or
Right.
above anybody,
Right.
just in our physical location.
I was gonna say it might not sound good, but we are in our own space above everybody else.
There are those pools Vlad was talking about. That I
Yeah.
guess, can we fish in those?
I want to go try that out.
I don't see any poles in those.
We're trying to figure it out. All right, we got plenty to talk
Oh,
about
there
today.
are poles in those.
There
We
are.
are fishing.
We got plenty to talk about today. Of course, we've got Kings, we've got Niners, Cowboys coming up on Sunday. Let's start with the Kings, Ramie. You know, go back about 2 weeks ago, we talked about this 9-game stretch that we had upcoming on the schedule. And if you looked at it, it was 9 games straight against teams that were under 500. 6 of those games were at home. And, you know, when we talked, they said, look, if you can go 7-2, you got to feel really, really good during that stretch. And that there was an opportunity to separate themselves from the rest of the Western Conference, because the Western Conference at that point 2 weeks ago was so tight. Everybody was clumped together.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody was bunched together. So if you look at it, it's amazing, because they started that stretch not so great. They won against Utah, and then they lost their next 2 games, and you said, this might not go well, right? If you want to go 7-2, now you're gonna win 6 straight. As we know, they've now won 5 straight. So heading into tonight's game against Oklahoma City at Golden 1, they are
They have a
6-2.
chance to do exactly what we said they should do here.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Like they have a chance to go 7-2 on this stretch and create some significant separation between them, and you get down to the 5th, 6th, 7th seed. You got to be feeling pretty good.
And it did exactly what you said, Nick. You put some distance between yourselves and the Mavericks, put some distance between yourselves and the Jazz, and now you're looking at the teams like the Warriors and the Suns competing for the play-in picture, and the Clippers, teams that a lot of talking heads had at the top of the Western Conference when this season started. You've even put the Pelicans behind you, and now you're only looking up at the Nuggets and at the Grizzlies, and you put some distance between yourself and the back half of the Western Conference playoff picture. It's exactly what we talked about. It's exactly what the picture that we painted when we talked about this opportunity of the next 9 games and making up this ground in the standings. That's exactly where they sit right now if they can finish the job, so to speak, tonight.
So this stretch began on January 3rd. So you go back, we just celebrated the new year, getting ready to see what was going to happen here as we approach the second half of the season for the Kings. You go back to January 3rd, and the Kings, at that moment, they were the 5th seed. So you've moved up from the 5th seed to the 3rd seed.
That's 2 spots, according to my math.
Good job.
Yes, thank you.
They were able to leapfrog both Dallas and New Orleans. So you leapfrog a couple of teams that were ahead of you. And when you look back to January 3rd, Ramie, they were only a half game ahead of the 6th seed. So back on January 3rd, the 6th seed, they were the Clippers. And you had the Kings a half game up above the Clippers, separating 5th to 6th. And now you fast forward 8 games through the 9-game stretch we were talking about. You are now the 3rd seed instead of the 5th seed, and you are 3.5 games ahead of the 6th seed Utah Jazz. So they've built a 3-game lead from the 6th seed, which is just absolutely gigantic when we talk about, as we said, number one, the Western Conference being bunched together at that time. And also, you need, a top 6 seed and not get into the play-in. You're a playoff team, right? So they were able to create 3 games of separation between themselves and the 6th seed over an 8-game stretch, which is it is huge.
I don't want to be the Debbie Downer here, all right? But is any part of you, because like you said, we had this discussion, and then they promptly went out and lost games they shouldn't have lost to Atlanta and Los Angeles. Is there any part of you that is still looking at those two games and going, man, this has been real good, and it's exactly what we asked for at the beginning of this 9-game stretch, but it could be even better. No, okay.
I don't feel that way because if you look at it
You're
that
looking
way,
at 27-16 right now, Nick.
yeah.
They didn't drop those two games that they had no business dropping and had a chance to win both.
But that's kind of part of the
Sure.
sports thing, right? I mean, you're gonna win games that you shouldn't win. You're gonna lose games you shouldn't lose. It all evens out in the end. And going into this stretch, again, if we said 7-2, and now you look at it, man, 7-2, you're smack dab right there. Even if you were to lose tonight, which I don't want to speak into existence.
Yeah.
Battle's cursed tonight. We'll get
Bad
to that
enough
later.
you're going to be there. You don't need to speak it into existence, too.
But when you look at it, even if you finish 6-3, one game off of what you wanted is still not bad. The point was, as I said, going back a couple of weeks ago when we talked about this 9-game stretch, this was not a stretch where you could afford to go 4-5, 3. Like if you went below 500, if you went even 5-4. And I know it's only a difference of 2 games, but it's a pretty gigantic difference of 2 games. If you have a 9-game stretch against teams under 500 and 6 of those at home, and you win 4 or 5 of those games, that's not good enough. If you win 7, you feel decent about it.
Yeah, you got to take the whole big picture, the 30,000-foot view of the thing, and evaluate it. I was just playing devil's advocate and asking, do you still look at those 2 games? Because we talked about it when it happened, Nick, and that at the end of the season, with as tightly bunched as the Western Conference was, and really, even though we're sitting here saying they've created some space between them and the lower half of the playoff picture, they're still well within striking distance. So as tightly bunched as the West is, we talked about the fact that you might look back at Atlanta, you might look back at Los Angeles and go, man, that's one that you should have had, and it would be really nice to have that right now because it might mean the difference in where you're playing a Game 7.
Here's the other part of it. We had no idea, obviously, because we can't tell the future, unfortunately.
I'm working on it, man.
You're working
on it?
How's it going?
I'm getting there.
Let me know when you reach the pinnacle.
Will do.
And then I'll take advantage of that.
Will do.
So, if I told you before the stretch that Domas was going to be dealing with a broken thumb, that also goes into this, right?
Sure.
Because not only are you sitting here at 6-2 through the first 8 games of that 9-game stretch, and you feel good, and you picked up the 3 games on the 6th seed over the last 2 weeks or so. It's also the point that you did all of this. You accomplished all of this. You're so close. You're on the precipice of your goal at 7-2 with your most important player, as we've called him this season, your most important player literally playing with a broken thumb. So that makes you feel even better to me about what they've been able to do. And I've said it from day one, Ramie. It's one of the sayings they always go to, win the winnables. And for the most part, in this stretch, if you come out 6-7 wins, you won the winnable.
Yeah, you can't really complain. We still might complain.
We still might find something to complain
We reserve the right to complain down the road if those losses do end up costing them a playoff spot. No? Do we not? Do we still go, no, they won 7 of 9 in that stretch? Do we even care about this stretch once the season is all said and done?
No, see, I won't go back and regret anything because, again, I went in reasonably thinking in my head, hey, try to finish that 7-2. So if they finish 7, now if they finish 1 game out, sure, you can go back, but you can play that game. It's an 82-game schedule. You can play that game all day long and say, oh, man, if they won that game. I mean, we could play that, but I think you still have to feel good no matter what about the first 8 games out of this 9-game stretch as they get ready to play Oklahoma City tonight at Golden 1. Text line is 916-339-1140. The phone number is 1-800-920-1140. Of course, you can catch us on YouTube, youtube.com, Sactown Sports 1140 on this Friday, getting you ready for Kings Thunder happening later tonight at Golden 1. Also want to tell you, it's 3:11 on this Friday. Time check brought to you by West Coast Men's Health Acoustic Wave Therapy. We'll get to some of your Kings reactions.
Said we're broadcasting from the beam.
We're broadcasting from the beam, baby. So we'll get to your Kings reaction on this stretch. Again, Ramie and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. 9 games straight against teams under 500. 6 of those games at Golden 1. We wanted at least 7-2. We would feel good about 7-2. They're 6-2 heading into tonight's game. We'll get to your reaction. Also, 49ers, Cowboys, our preview in 90 seconds.
wonder if we could broadcast from the beam, like from where the beam shoots out from on the roof of Golden One Center.
Could we?
That would be
anything is possible.
That would be pretty awesome. We should do that.
Anything is possible.
We should look into this. I'm not even kidding right now.
No, I'll be down. As long as I don't have to look down. I don't like heights.
Neither do I, but I'll take one for the team.
Look at you. Team player.
For sure. Who do we talk to? Our mic is hot.
He's Ramie, I'm Cattles. Cattles and Ramie on a Friday. We're chilling out here at the Cal Expo, International Sportsman's Expo happening. And apparently we're going to have some announcements over the loudspeaker around here in the next couple hours.
Love that. It makes for such good radio. Everybody's going to know what's happening out here at the Sportsman Expo.
This is
Building C.
absolutely hilarious. We're dealing with some technical stuff, so there might be a hot mic situation. We don't mean to offend anybody with language just in case something slips out.
We didn't say anything
No,
we
no,
shouldn't
I
have
think
said last break, right?
I think we're good.
I was just saying we should actually literally broadcast from the beam. That's the discussion we were having with the hot mic.
Yes. And
To
Cole
make
G.
this happen.
Cole G asks, what's in Nick's Curse Buster backpack for the game? All right, so I'll just touch on this quickly before we get to Niners Cowboys and some of our thoughts on that game on Sunday. I think we start off with what JJ gave to me, and that was the cowbell. The cowbell, little cowbell. That's on the table. Because of the angle, you can't see this, but they're on the table. So we got the cowbell there. Then we had Simone's sorcery. So JJ's Juju brought in the cowbell, and then we had Simone's sorcery, and Simone's sorcery had a quartz crystal. So I gotta put that.
Quartz? Is that what it was?
Yes, it's
Okay.
quartz. The quartz crystal that was from Simone, and then
It's very sorcerer-like of her.
and then we have this. This was a Kings bowling shirt from the was it the Kingpin Classic?
Which is coming back apparently.
Yes. So we got this from Verlad. So this is what I got. So I got the Cole G calls Simone a witch. So I got Verlad's bowling shirt. So those are the items. Ramie will give me the fourth and final
I got
item
one more thing for you. It's got a little Macloff magic.
later on in the show. And yes, who picked this location in front of the women's restroom? It's a good question.
Are we in front of the women's?
We are indeed. You see the women's sign right above me. That's a real thing. So yes, that's.
That is. Oh yeah, I didn't even see that. Look at that.
So we're gonna.
It's a little weird.
It is what it is, but we're gonna do our best. Of course, we'll see. We'll see if the Cattle's curse is broken tonight. We'll get more into that later on in the show. But Ramie, let's jump, of course, to Cowboys Niners coming up on Sunday. You are officially one win away from the NFC Championship game yet again.
With
The
Brock
Niners-
Purdy, dude.
With Brock Purdy.
With Brock Purdy.
The Niners got there last season, of course. They were a tart drop pick away from, being able to head on to the Super Bowl and play Cincinnati. And when you look at the history, that's what's cool about this game, is the history between the Cowboys and the Niners. It's well documented, but when the Cowboys visit Santa Clara on Sunday, it will be the 9th time, Ramie, these two teams have played each other in the playoffs. If you're wondering how that's gone, the Cowboys lead. They have a 5-3 advantage in the previous 8 games, but the Niners, a year ago, as we all remember, they actually beat the Cowboys 23-17. So the latest matchup went San Francisco's way. It's still 5-3 Cowboys advantage. And I know Dak said this week that They absolutely wanted this game. They absolutely wanted this rematch. They've talked about it, and they want it, Ramie.
I don't know about you. We're close to the same age. This was my teenage years, like Cowboys versus Niners.
Yeah.
For all the marbles, that was basically the Super Bowl every year. Even though they played in the same conference, you knew whoever was coming out of that was probably winning the Super. So there is a lot of nostalgia in this playoff matchup. I would tell Dak, and not that the Cowboys can't win this game, but when it comes to facing the 49ers defense, I would tell Dak, be careful what you wish for. Be careful of what you ask for, because you just might get it. This is a great defense that the 49ers take into this game on Sunday. I don't know that I'd be I mean, I guess a good competitor likes a challenge. You know, you got to beat the best to be the best. So maybe that's what Dak is saying when he says we wanted this. Or maybe it's just a revenge factor. And Nick, for me, that is kind of my.
Do you buy into that?
I do. I have some football X and O things for you here in just a minute. But for me, the X factor in this one is football is an emotional game, man. And sometimes having an emotional edge can give you the edge in a game, or it can just give you the edge to start a game and kind of start the ball of momentum rolling.
Right.
The 49ers have more on the line from a mental aspect, from a pride aspect going into this one than the 49ers necessarily do. They want to get that taste out of their mouth. That's a real thing, man. I think that's human nature, not just a football thing, but you want to overcome past failures. You want to make wrongs of the past right. You know what I mean? I think that's a real thing, and it can either get the best of you, or it can motivate you and get a little bit extra out of you. One way or another, I think it could be the X factor in this game.
All right, so give me the football statistics you got.
San Francisco O-line versus the Dallas pass rush.
Yes.
Is one of the places where I think this game is decided specifically. Yes. I'm really looking forward to watching Trent Williams versus Micah Parsons. Man.
Awesome matchup.
That is going to be a fun matchup all day long. And on the other side, watch for Dak Prescott to try and exploit the weakness at cornerback for the 49ers. And we talked with Stats last week, Rob Stats Guerrera. Somebody hire him. I can't believe what happened to Stats today happened. He is amazing at what he does for a living.
Agreed.
And we're going to keep talking to him, right? As long as the 49ers are alive. All right. So we'll talk with Stats next Wednesday. They've given up the most big plays in the league. I think Stats said going back to week 11 or week 12. I'd have to look it up to get it exactly right. They're going to try and exploit that with CeeDee Lamb and the rest of the weapons that Dak has to throw to. And, man, he was on point last week.
He was really good against
That's as good as we've seen Dak Prescott look all season long.
I will say, though, Tampa's defense has been up and down and mostly down, so I don't want to get too far ahead with that. But to hit on your point, I couldn't agree more about this Dallas pass rush against the Niners offensive line. And what's really interesting, Ramie, is how will Dallas actually play this? And what I mean by that is, are they just going to go try straight rush, or are they going to try to blitz? Because there's a couple of interesting things here. Warren Sharp from Sports Grid, he tweeted about Dallas's blitzing. Now, try to follow me on this. Dallas is number one in pressure percentage, okay? So they get the most pressure in the NFL. That defensive line has gotten the most pressure in the NFL this season, but they blitz at a below average percentage. So they're getting tons of pass rush with just their defensive front without doing any kind of bells and whistles. Brock Purdy, okay, so now we've got that about Dallas. Brock Purdy is top 5 when he's not blitzed, whether kept clean or pressured naturally. So when you don't blitz Brock Purdy, he's been able to beat defenses. Now, when he's blitzed, he drops to 10th if he's blitzed and kept clean. So Dallas, number one in pressure. They don't blitz a lot. Purdy, top 5 when he's not blitzed, kept clean, or pressured naturally. If he's blitzed and kept clean, he drops from 5th to 10th. And then here's the true nugget. Purdy drops to a below average quarterback if he's blitzed and gets pressure. So if you look at the numbers, the way to get to Purdy so far has been able to blitz him and get pressure from that blitz. The Cowboys, meanwhile, they live and die by getting pressure without blitz.
I know we say this every week, but if Brock Purdy doesn't make any mistakes and doesn't make too many mistakes, everybody's going to make mistakes over the course of a game. If he doesn't make too many mistakes or too costly of an error, we know that more times than not, and the Jaguars are the biggest outlier in the history of outliers in last week's win, coming out -5 in the turnover margin and still winning. More times than not, especially in the playoffs, you win the turnover margin in a game, and you're going to win that football game. If Brock Purdy doesn't give the ball to the Cowboys, Dak Prescott will give the 49ers a couple of chances at taking the football. He led the league in interceptions this year, even though he played only 15 in only 12 games. He had 15 interceptions. 49ers led the NFL with interceptions with 20. He's going to give you a couple. If you can capitalize on those, and if Brock Purdy cannot make those types of mistakes, 49ers should win this game.
And so people, after I just told you, say, well, why then Dallas should just blitz? Why don't they blitz? Because when they blitz, their defense has been much, much, much worse. Much worse. Like,
they can get got.
Much worse. 23rd when they blitz in DVOA, yards per play. So when they blitz, they give up 6.6 yards a play. When they don't blitz, they give up 5.5 yards a play. So, which has been best in DVOA. So, I mean, it is a significant drop off when they blitz. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do philosophically on Sunday. If they can't get pressure on Purdy with just their regular pass rush, will they be desperate enough to go to the blitz? And if/when they do, will San Francisco take advantage of it? Again, he's Ramie, I'm Cattles. We're here on a Friday. We're at the International Sportsman's Expo at Cal Expo. We've got lots of Kings to talk about. We will do that certainly over the next couple of hours, but we'll continue to discuss Niners Cowboys next.
Sactown Sports.
Yeah. Happy Friday. Cattles and Ramie with you. And if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com, Sactown Sports 1140, we say hello. And, there is a women's room behind us, but we don't think anybody is going to be going in and out, okay?
Do we have this whole area to ourselves?
Yes, we do. Yes,
wow.
we do. And so I don't think anybody's going to be up here. So I believe there are bathrooms downstairs. But I will say this. This is just us standing by women in this world. This is our equality message.
That's a message right there.
Yes.
That is not just a women's room.
We believe in you women.
Exactly.
We are here for you women. Cattles and Ramie, that's what we do. All right,
Allies.
let's continue to talk Cowboys and Niners right now. Joining us on the good old hotline, as we call the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop, is Michael Gehlken from the Dallas Morning News. Michael, thank you for the time. It is much appreciated, my friend. Let's start with Dak Prescott. He's been up and down. Any confidence in which Dak we'll see on Sunday, Michael?
Well, I think it all really comes down to how are those around him executing. Because I think the interception total, no doubt, is where people kind of start as it pertains to Dak Prescott's season. But when you really break those down, he's really been, fortunately, disappointed by some of the execution around him in terms of multiple times, including on a pick six and overtime against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where a ball hits off a receiver's hand. There was one play where the right tackle allows pressure, his hand gets hit, and when throwing the ball and it's intercepted. Other times where receivers don't cross the safety's face, and it's intercepted. So I think Dak Prescott has played better and with more consistency than maybe the number of interceptions would suggest. But there's no doubt he was horrible against the Washington Commanders to end the season. And I think we're probably something more in line as to what we saw against the Buccaneers on Monday night.
Commanders aside, has he gotten better? Was there some rust since coming off the thumb injury?
I don't know. I think that first game against the Detroit Lions on October 23rd, the offense wasn't quite clicking. But then after that, you look at the Cowboys' third down efficiency for the next several games, starting October 30th against the Chicago Bears, and they were clicking at an extremely high level. Number one in a lot of key categories, including scoring, red zone, third down, all that sort of production. So I think maybe it took a game, and I think it's only natural that again, some of those issues with the receivers get ironed out over time as the repetition goes over the course of the season. I think Amber alert my phone. I don't know if you're able to hear that, so I apologize. But yeah, I think over the course of time, there's probably something to be said for the repetition with the receivers helping him out there.
Michael Gehlken is with us from the Dallas Morning News, talking Cowboys, 49ers coming up on Sunday. Michael, one more question about Dak. Jerry Jones spoke about his ability to use his legs this week. The Niners have not been great against mobile quarterbacks. Do you anticipate some wrinkles this weekend, maybe using Dak, his mobility a little bit more than usual?
I do. I think that's a very fair expectation. It's something that Dak Prescott feels like he has in his bag, and whenever it is that he wants, he can take it out. But he kind of said, kind of foreshadowed, I suppose, that really when he needs to most is when you'd be more inclined to do it. And whether that's a scramble drill or, specifically on an RPO, or it's just, being simply more aggressive when the play breaks down with his legs, I think that is very well could be the time to do it on Sunday afternoon against the 49ers, because if not, then I don't know when.
Speaking of running the football, who's the number one running back in Dallas? Does it even matter? Is it just a matter of matchups? Who's going to get the bulk of the carries between Elliott and Pollard?
Yeah, it's really 1A, 1B in terms of how the Cowboys use them. When you look at efficiency, it's pretty clear that Tony Pollard is the more explosive back at this stage of their respective careers. Last Monday, you look at the past 3 games of production, Ezekiel Elliott's averaging 1.85 yards per carry, and that's too low if it was double that. But there's also a lot of attention still that defenses are paying Elliott when he's in the game. He saw a stacked box, I want to say it was over 40% of the time against the Buccaneers. And so, whereas Tony Pollard saw around 20%, according to Next Gen Stats. So he still gets a lot of attention when he's in the game. The Cowboys feel like there's no such thing as a Zeke run or a Tony Pollard run. They call it just the same. So overall, I would say they're pretty interchangeable, even if the defensive front might vary or the efficiency might vary based on who's in the game.
Michael Gehlken is with us here for the Dallas Morning News. He's on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Michael, Brock Purdy hasn't been as good when pressured on the blitz, but Dallas's defense hasn't been as good when they've needed to blitz. What do you think will the defensive plan will be on Sunday? Do you anticipate them blitzing if times get a little desperate?
I think so. I think you're going to see a lot of exotic looks out of Dan Quinn. He's going to disguise things. Brock Purdy might think one thing is coming, but because they're going to show him that, but another thing will. It's a really drastic juxtaposition between these two first playoff games for the Cowboys, where their first one, they're going up against Father Time and Tom Brady, and he's seen everything over the course of his career. So there really wasn't a whole lot that Dan Quinn could do to throw him off his game because, again, he's just seen it before. Whereas Brock Purdy, in the same breath, the Cowboys feel he's not a typical rookie. They don't view him per se as a rookie because of his confidence, his exposure, and so forth. They still know that he is inexperienced. And with that inexperience, you do have an opportunity to show him something that might get him to slow down a little bit in his head. And so the Cowboys feel very confident in their four-man rush. So they don't necessarily need to blitz in order to get there. But that said, there's no doubt with Micah Parsons moving from left end to right end, inside linebacker, and some of the other things that the Cowboys can do from a disguise standpoint, they're going to keep his brain occupied as best as they can.
Bigger picture question for you. A lot of people thought Mike McCarthy was maybe coaching for his job last week. Is he now safe with advancing to the conference semifinal?
Yes. Yeah. And I kind of just want to stop it there, but yes. Yeah, he is.
Okay. Did you get tired of talking about that when it comes to Jerry Jones and the security of his coaches?
I mean, there's I can't tell you how many times I've been asked about a Sean Payton, and we're talking about a broadcaster, possibly getting a job when the guy here is coming off of a 12-win season. I think I'm not a very good Cowboys reporter because I think some of it just kind of comes with the Dallas Cowboys. But yeah, McCarthy will be the Cowboys coach in 2023 by all indications.
Well, I got one more for you, Michael, before we let you go. And again, thanks for the time. We appreciate you. It's the obligatory question. What do you think happens on Sunday?
Well, I think the 49ers are the better team. I think there's a just tremendous amount of talent. You look at what they do in the run game, first and second down, they're so good. Yards after contact, yards after catch. They're so efficient in so many ways. Defensively, Joey Bosa is phenomenal. The defense doesn't disguise a whole lot. So they don't need to. They're just so sound and so talented across all levels of defense. Not every time does the best team win, and I don't know exactly how it's going to go on Sunday. I don't. And I might have a bit of a proximity bias to think that the Cowboys can overcome the 49ers, given how good they are. But there's something different mentally right now about this team than there was certainly last year when these teams met and the Cowboys were bounced one and done in the postseason at home. I think they're callous from that experience. They've wanted this game. I just think they're mentally locked in. And if the Cowboys are go down, I think they're going to go down swinging and be just very resilient. And so given the experience at quarterback and Dak and that potential advantage there, I'm inclined to say that the Cowboys will find a way to gut it out. But, I mean, the 49ers are entirely capable any given week of just smacking an opponent with their physicality on both sides of the ball and their confusion with Kyle Shanahan's scheme, all the shifts and motions and all the eye candy that comes with it, and this not being especially close to the late. But I'm going to say that it will be, and the Cowboys squeak it out. But I'm just a filthy little homer that you guys have on your radio station. So.
Michael, man, we always love catching up with you. We appreciate your time. Hopefully we have a great game on Sunday. Be well, be safe traveling.
You bet, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. There goes Michael Gehlken from the Dallas Morning News. He was on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Some good stuff there. Says Dallas is different mentally this time around. We'll see if that's true or not. We'll see what kind of game plays out on Sunday. I do think it's going to be a fun game and a good game. My eventful night. Yeah, I had an eventful night, Ramie.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you don't
That's
know
never
about
good.
it. Talk about that. We'll also give you our NFL picks for this weekend coming up.
Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm meteorologist Heather Waldman in the KCRA Weather Center. Temperatures plunge Friday night. We'll start Saturday in the low 30s, and we will have some patchy fog throughout the valley as well. Afternoon sun with a high near 50. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA News and the KCRA app.
When it comes to your sewer, what goes down must come out. Get a detailed video inspection absolutely free with any sewer drain cleaning and keep life flowing in the right direction. Plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air, Bonnie.com.
What's going on? Joined as always by Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Chad, what's up with the Chrysler Start Something New event?
Hoblet is the most trusted dealer in California and is known for having the largest inventory of heavy-duty trucks in the state. We have every type of Ram 2500 heavy-duty available and zero dealer markup. In fact, right now you can save up to $12,000 off MSRP on new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs, with financing starting at 1.9% and prices as low as $39,630.
Oh, is that all?
No, that's not it. We also have up to $8,000 off MSRP on new 2022 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cabs as well.
What are you waiting for? Stop by the Hoblet Ram Truck Center off County Road 102 and I-5 today, or search, select, and save at HobletDodge.com. Best prices, best selection, period.
12,000 in total net savings after 6,000 factory rebates and 6,000 dealer discount. Rebates include $2,000 Chrysler Captive bonus cash. Must finance with Chrysler Captive qualify. 1.9% financing available for 36 months on approved credit. $28.61 per $1,000 borrowed. 8,000 total net savings after 2,000 factory rebates and 6,000 dealer discount. 10 at each net savings. See dealer for details.
The Black Crowes live. A night of all their iconic songs. Saturday, May 6th, a special set from the Crowes at the all-new and all-incredible The Venue at Thunder Valley. Tickets on sale now at ThunderValleyResort.com. Don't miss the Black Crowes at The Venue at Thunder Valley.
At Ashton & Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better, and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton & Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
This is Monster Jam! See the legendary Gravedigger and more tear up the dirt. Live and local in the afternoon.
They always keep you on edge.
Cattles
And Ramie.
on Sactown Sports.
Yeah, we're at the Cal Expo, International Sportsman's Expo on this Friday. Cattles and Ramie with you, Sactown Sports. 3:45 on this Friday, by the way. Time check brought to you by West Coast Men's Health Acoustic Wave Therapy. So before we get Vote Kings.
Sorry.
Vote Kings today. Vote
Yes.
Kings today.
Today.
So before we get to the NFL picks, Ramie, in 20 plus years,
Yes.
I would like you to guess how many car accidents I've been in.
Oh boy, that's never a good place to start a conversation.
20 plus years.
Been in?
Yes.
And
Driving.
Driving.
Yes, driving.
2?
Zero.
Okay.
How many car accidents do you think I've been in the last 5 months?
2?
Nailed it. Yes. So in August.
What? Another one?
Another one. In August.
As DJ Khaled once said.
And another one. Another one. So I'm driving home. First of all, the first one back in August. Kelly and I are driving back from Tahoe. Fantastic vacation. And we get rear-ended by somebody at about 45 miles an hour. Just
not fun.
Crushed my whole back, bumper and all that stuff. And so that happened. Got my truck fixed a month or two later. So my truck.
It took a while, too.
Yeah. My truck had.
The part is on back order.
Yeah, the old 6 weeks. The old 6 weeks for the parts to come in. So I finally got the truck fixed. I don't know when it was. December,
like a month ago,
November,
maybe,
whatever. Yeah, about a month and a half ago. I'm driving home last night.
Mm-hmm.
I merge onto Blue Oaks.
Okay.
On my way home off 65. And stop and go. Person in front of me, stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. Person in front of me jams on their brakes. I jam on my brake.
Oh, no.
I stop.
Uh-huh.
In time.
Uh-huh.
Guess who didn't?
The car behind you.
Exactly. Same bumper, whammo. 2 times in 5 months.
I'm only laughing because I know you're okay. You're sitting here before me today. You don't appear to be in pain or any more pain than you usually are on any given day. So that's the only reason I laugh, because it's somewhat comical and humorous.
Again,
this luck that you have.
20 plus years driving, 0 accidents. In the state of California, last 5 months, 2 accidents. Same vehicle, same spot.
Something about California drivers?
No,
Nick?
I'm just saying
Okay.
I have not had great luck driving in California to this point.
Ramie either drives too fast or too slow. One of the two.
No.
I think it's more of a Roseville problem.
That too, Chris. You're 100%
Could be
on
a
that.
Roseville thing.
That's not Sacramento. That's Roseville. That's a whole different county, man. It's a county.
As they will tell you, when you get rear-ended, it's one person's fault, and it's not your fault.
It's almost never your fault. Yes.
So, and I will say, here's the other bad thing, okay? You know what was in the truck at the time? Simone's Quartz Crystal.
Oh, no.
Okay?
Oh, no.
In Verlad's bowling shirt.
I think this just tells you how strong the Cattles curse is. Did you not
Man,
have Jay
imagine how
Combo
much
with
worse it would have been if you didn't have that stuff in your truck.
So
is everybody okay? Does your truck need repairs again?
Yeah, it's gonna have to go to the shop.
Nice.
But they're only going. We were only going about 10 miles, 15 miles an hour.
Oh,
so it wasn't
okay.
nearly as bad as the first one. I think it's mostly going to be a paint job. It wasn't nearly as bad.
Good.
But yeah, so it happened, and then I felt pretty bad because the person that hit me, aside from the Simone sorcery and Verlad's voodoo doing me in last night, on the way home, I thought I was going to get home by like 5:15. I was all excited. Got out early yesterday. I didn't get home till about 6:30. Got off the phone with the insurance people at like 7:30. I'm like, well, there goes that day. But I felt a little bad because the person who hit me, she was like 17 years old. And it was her sister, and a friend of theirs. And towards the end, they didn't know what to do. What do we do? What do we do? So I had to go through the whole thing. You want to take pictures of the insurance card and license and damage, and I had to pretty much help them out through the whole thing. So my level was at like a 9 when I got hit because I was like, I can't believe this.
Then you had to
but
tamp
then
it
I got
down.
out of the truck and I was like, okay, and I completely went down like a 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's talk. And she was getting emotional at the end. I was like, listen, accidents happen. Don't worry about it. So, and you know, it's funny. The insurance card was expired.
Yours?
Theirs.
Or hers?
Theirs.
Yeah.
It was like October. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm going to take a picture, and the policy number's on there. I have to check if you have insurance because they're like, we got insurance. And so the girl who hit me, she's talking to her dad on the phone. I'm talking to her sister while she's talking to dad, right? And I said, she's talking to your dad. She says, yeah. I said, oh, all right. I said, oh, cool. Well, what's he do for a living? She's like, he's an insurance agent. for the insurance company that they have the auto insurance. He is the agent that they use for their own
And
car
he doesn't
insurance.
have an updated card in the car?
Exactly. I said that. So I started laughing. I said, that's funny. And she's like looking at me like I thought she was joking. I said, no, I know you're telling me the truth. It's ironically funny. She'll go, okay.
Real quick, a question.
Yes.
Because I don't update my cards in the car. I go off the phone now. You guys actually put the physical paper card in?
I have the card in my car.
Yeah.
I don't do it anymore.
I'm like 75 years
Not
old.
too many
I got my
apps
stuff
on my phone, man. I'm not going to have all these apps.
Well,
on
no,
my
I
phone.
just screenshot it. Boom. See, because technically, the law enforcement can see if you have insurance.
Yeah.
That's just the way to talk to you.
Right.
Yeah. And Javier says, straight up, you have to drive super defensive here. And that's
how do you defend against getting rear-ended, though?
That's an issue, man. That's
What
an
are you
issue.
gonna do?
That's an issue. But anyway, enough.
That's why I don't drive anywhere. This is why everything is within walking distance of my place.
Enough of that. We're going to get to the quickest NFL picks in NFL picks history here. Let's just roll into this puppy. Let's start, Ramie, with Jacksonville at Kansas City. KC's -8.5.
I know you said very quick. I just have one stat. Chiefs were 5-11-1 against the spread this year.
Wow.
Second worst against the spread in the NFL. KC probably wins. Jags cover the 8.5.
All right, I'm going to go KC. You got a young Jacksonville team on the road. I think Mahomes will be too much. Give me Kansas City laying the 8.5.
Same thing, KC. Too easy.
KC light work.
KC light work.
8.5 is light
He
work.
said light work,
All
Ramie.
right.
Why are you even questioning him? Even though his bowling shirt caused my
gave you no
accident last night.
Gave you no good voodoo.
Game number 2, Giants at the Eagles, -7.5 for Philly.
Eagles win this one, but Giants keep it close. Giants +7.5.
Feel the same way. Giants getting that 7.5. It's a pretty big number. I think Wink Martindale will come up with something to bug the Eagles, at least through the first half. I think Philly wins, but I think it'll be tighter than 7.5.
No one's talking about these guys playing a third time like we heard all last week with the Seahawks and Niners.
Sure.
Who cares? I stayed the Giants. Keep it close.
I also think the Giants are going to keep it close.
Look at that. Clean
Might
sweep.
even
We're on
win.
the same page. Ooh, might even. Ooh.
I like it. I'm with you.
You calling your shot, Verlad?
I might have to pay attention to on the record.
Oh.
Hey, look at this guy
Wow.
teasing stuff. Radio Pro. Cincy at Buffalo. Buffalo -5.5.
Cincy doesn't even need the 5.5. They're going to win this football game.
I disagree. I think Cincy will lose the game, but I do think this game will be closer than 5.5. Watch out for Cincinnati's offensive line. Not one, but 2 starters are out this weekend. The reason why I wouldn't be too freaked out about it, though, is Joe Burrow, with a terrible offensive line, almost won a Super Bowl last year. He's proven he can do stuff with the bad O-line, but I think Buffalo wins, but Cincy keeps it close.
Give me the Bills on a touchdown. Easy work.
Easy work?
Light work.
Light work.
I think it's going to be the Bills as well.
All right. So Ramie and I are with Cincy. JJ and Verlad go with Buffalo. All right, last one. Save the best for last, folks. Dallas at San Francisco, Niners -4.
This is going to be within a field goal or less. I'm going to take Dallas +4.
Give me San Fran. Lay them points. Niners are more talented. I think the Niners offensive line will do a good enough job against that Dallas defensive line straight up. I think they'll have some things ready for Micah Parsons to not make him an absolute savage out there. So I'm going to go with Niners -4.
Yeah, the Cowboys are they're very, very slight of talent in the defensive backfield right now. That's the wrong way to be against the 49ers. With Brock Purdy going, I'm taking the 49ers. I think they win by 8-10.
Purdy.
I'm also taking the Niners, guys.
All right, there we go. The picks. And picks this week are worth 4 points. So
4 points.
We'll adjust the scores there accordingly. So there you have it, our NFL picks for this weekend, divisional round. I can't believe it. Next weekend already the championship round, dude.
Yes,
That's
sir.
insane. That is absolutely insane. Take a look at what's ahead for the Kings coming up next.
Cattles
And
AM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. Your home for the biggest matchups in the NFL. Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines. We've got action. The Kings are back in action, and it'll be a battle of the point guards and the big men as the Thunder and Shai Gilgeous and Steven Adams come to town. The G1C will be rocking, and Nick will try to break his curse. All of the action begins at 5:30 with game night followed by the pregame, and of course the sultry tones of the G-Men taking you all the way down to the tip at 7 o'clock. The Kings look to be at full health tonight for the game as Sabonis, Dellavedova, and Alex Len are a go. The only piece of the puzzle is Terrence Davis, as he is questionable due to a non-COVID-related illness. Down the coast in L.A., the Lakers said today that Anthony Davis is set to return next week from injury. Those are your Sac Sports 1140 headlines. I'm Jay Johnson. Keep it locked right here to the Cattles and Ramie Show. It's coming up in 15 minutes. Our Kings insider, Frankie C. He'll join the boys. Now more of the Cattles and Ramie Show.
One brings Macloff magic, while the other, we're still trying to figure that out.
Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
Shout out to JJ, because we're on the road today, and my man just did his headline off his phone. You see that?
Yeah, I did.
It's a true professional.
That's impressive.
He's walking around the top level like he owned the joint.
Professional broadcaster
This
right
guy
there.
can't get anything past him.
I'm a little freaked out, Nick Cattles.
Why?
Well, a couple of reasons.
Because we're sitting in front of a women's room?
We're out here at the Sportsman Expo. No, because
it's outside. We're not really like right in front of them.
Nobody's using that. That is out of service right now. One, there's like animal heads down here that you can mount on your wall, and like I got no problem with that in general. But that antelope right there, he's been staring at me the whole time, dude.
He's mean mugging you?
That is freaking me out. And then I don't know about you, Nick. I have a fear of large birds of prey or large groups of birds.
Do you?
And over in the corner there are two hawks or two large live birds that are just perched. That I don't know what's stopping them from coming over here.
Where are they? Hold on.
Right in the corner there. Right in the corner. You see? Where it says CRWN. I don't know what that stands for.
Oh, I see one of them.
Yeah, there's one right to the right, and there's one right in the.
Oh, I see the other one.
Sitting on top of the sign.
Yes.
What is stopping them from coming
Attacking
over here and gouging my eyes out right now?
Nothing.
What are the safety precautions being taken with large birds of prey in the building?
I don't know.
This is not
I
a
would hope they're
play
well
thing.
trained. It's not a.
No, it is
It is
not.
not a play thing.
It's not a play. I'm watching them the whole time. I'm talking to you. One of them just looked at me and spread his wings. Just spread his wings. He's taunting me. You see him?
Well, stop talking about him. And he won't be.
I'm not taking my eyes off these dudes.
Yeah, probably
the
shouldn't
entirety
be
of this show.
pointing at animals, Ramie, especially if you're afraid of them.
Yeah, he's calling for it for a lot. He's like, I don't know what that eagle's doing, but come on.
He's literally flapping his wings. He's warming up to come over here and murder me.
All right. Anyway, let's get to the Kings here. Frankie C will join us in about 10 minutes as Ramie duels with an eagle from like a mile away. 25-18, 7 games above 500 are your Kings. They're the 3 seed in the Western Conference. Here was De'Aaron Fox talking about this team at shoot-around today.
I've always wanted to win. That was a big thing, and we felt like coming into the season that we had a roster and a coaching staff that was constructed to do just that. So I don't think anybody in here is surprised, but like I said, we feel like we can be a lot better.
Feel like we can be a lot better. We talked about this to start the show, Ramie. They had this 9-game stretch against teams under 500. 6 of those 9 games at Golden One. When the stretch began, you and I talked about them finishing 7-2 would be a nice accomplishment. They're 6-2 getting ready for tonight's game. So if they beat the Thunder at G1C tonight, they hit that goal. Smack dab hit that goal at 7-2.
You're going to be in the building.
I am going to be.
Poses a problem.
It could.
I'm doing the recap show though. And so the Macloff Magic and the Cattle's Curse.
Oh,
they come to odds tonight.
Oh, well, we'll see. Well, hopefully you win out. I want you to win out. I don't want to be the curse anymore.
As do I.
Feisty team, though, Oklahoma City. Feisty team. Here was Kevin Herter at Shoot Around talking about the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, this gonna be a high level game. You know, they beat some really good teams as of late. I think won 6 to 7. Best offense and defense in the league in that span, as far as net rating goes. So they're a really good team. They're playing really well. They have a lot of young guys. They play with a lot of energy. They kind of throw different lineups at you, a little bit unconventional, playing with 5 guards and throwing zones. So they mix it up a lot. It'll be a tough challenge.
By the way, Brian Carticelli says, hey, Ramie, that's just a mating call. Better be careful. So you can think about that now for the next few minutes. So Kevin Herter says, look, this team's won 6 out of the last 7. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a legitimate all-star. Steven Adams gave the Kings major problems the last time these two teams played. Steven Adams was a bull. And that Domas-Adams matchup is very interesting. So we'll see what happens tonight. But I also want to look at, Ramie, what is upcoming for this team once we get through tonight, right? We know we got OKC. That's part of that 9-game stretch we've talked about. But the next five, there is still some opportunity lying ahead for the Kings. Looking at these games, so the first game, right, after you get through tonight, which is the final game of that 9-game stretch, you're right back at it tomorrow. Difficult game. Tomorrow night at Golden One against Joel Embiid and the 76ers. And not only are you playing the second game of a back-to-back against the 76ers and Joel Embiid, but Philadelphia just played in Portland last night. They have the night off tonight. So I would imagine that Philly is already in Sacramento chilling out at the hotel with their feet up, having good food. You've got to go out and play a tough team in Oklahoma City tonight and then come back tomorrow night to play Philadelphia.
They might be here at the Sportsman Expo.
I doubt it, but they could be.
Joel Embiid said he grew up fighting lions. I wouldn't put it past him.
Oh, good point.
To come out here
good point.
And take on some wildlife. Yeah, I mean, it starts off tough, Nick. And Memphis, they still haven't lost in like a month, right? They're on 11, 12-game winning streak, the Memphis Grizzlies after that.
Yep.
So you got a couple tough ones coming up after Oklahoma City tonight. But you get Toronto, who is still below 500, and they're having their problems. Minnesota, still having their issues out there. San Antonio. You're right when you say that there's more opportunity on the horizon for the Kings after they get through these two tough games coming up after Oklahoma City. And if you include Oklahoma City, and as you pointed out, the back-to-back with Philly having the night off, the next 3 are pretty tough. But after that, things ease up a little bit again.
Well, if people have been listening to us throughout this season, and to those that have, we appreciate you. We love you, and thanks a lot for that. For those who haven't been listening to us until recently, maybe because you're Deuce and Mo fans and now you're jumping on, we appreciate you as well. Come on in. The water is warm. You know, Ramie and I, we've broken down the schedule. We go 5-game snapshots, 10-game snapshots. We tend to look at certain stretches so we can talk to listeners and with listeners about what to expect and what they expect, what you guys expect from this team. And I think you go back to the beginning of the year, Ramie, you know, we've been pretty accurate with how we see things playing out, including the current 9-game stretch that we broke down a couple of weeks ago. And I look at this schedule, the next 5 games after tonight. And as you said, you know, if you can go 3-2 here in the next 5, I think you're in a great spot. Philly's going to be tough tomorrow night. There's no doubt about that. I just went through the whole back-to-back scenario. You mentioned Memphis. Memphis is up next. Memphis is on Monday.
But are they due for a loss?
Well, they will play before. They will play before Monday. So maybe
they'll due for a loss.
Maybe they'll get they'll wait for that loss until they get here on Monday night. But they play on Monday against the Kings, and they're smack dab in the middle of an 11-game win streak. The good thing about the Grizzlies, though, here's one thing I would say: they've won 11 in a row. But they play in Phoenix on Sunday. So very similarly to what the Kings are going to go through between tonight and tomorrow night when they get the back-to-back and Philly's got the night off, well, you're going to have the night off on Sunday. You're still going to be home. You don't have to travel. You're home tonight. You're home Saturday. You're home on Monday. Memphis has to play Phoenix on Sunday night. Then they've got to fly up here, probably get in late, right? Get in 11 o'clock, maybe midnight, somewhere in that area. And then they've got to come right back and play you on Monday night. So you've got Memphis on the second game of a back-to-back for them, which I think gives you at least a little bit of an edge against that team.
So what are we looking at in this 6-game stretch post-Oklahoma City? Philly, Memphis, Toronto, 2 against Minnesota, and 1 against San Antonio. 3 of those on the road. What are we looking to get out of this? 4?
All right, so I think
Four?
I think Philly will be tough tomorrow night. Memphis, you got a good shot at. Toronto, they're tough, but they're beatable.
They're takeable.
They're 20-26. They don't shoot the basketball very well, and they're also in the middle of trade wins. Like there's a lot of time. I just read a story today about a lot of people believe that either Fred VanVleet or Gary Trent Jr. they're going to be gone within the next week or two. A lot of people believe Masai Ujiri is going to pull the trigger on a couple of deals because he's not a guy that likes to sit around and see his team struggle. Again, they're 20-26. That's not meeting expectations. So, Toronto's a beatable team. 2 at Minnesota is interesting. You want a split out of that. Minnesota got off to a terrible start, but they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're starting to figure some things out. And, if you can go to Minnesota and split with Minnesota 1-1, then you feel pretty good. And then what do you got? San Antonio, that's a team you got to beat. So I think you could look at a 4-2 stretch over the next 6 games after tonight. If you can finish this 9-game stretch against Oklahoma City tonight with a win and you go 7-2 and then you back that up with a 4-2, my simple math skills tell me that's what, 11-4? 11-4 over 15 games. So you're starting to separate, as we mentioned earlier, and this is the chance to take advantage of those kinds of opportunities.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. Between Philly and Memphis, Nick, those honestly on paper and all the intangibles thrown in there that you talked about, those are both games that maybe on paper the Kings shouldn't necessarily win. Get one of those because we talked earlier about the losses to Atlanta and Los Angeles, and sometimes you lose games you should win. Sometimes you win games that you should lose. Get one of those back. Does that, you know what I'm saying? Get one of those games that you shouldn't have lost. Get it back in a game that you probably shouldn't win. They should beat Toronto. They should be able to split with Minnesota. And San Antonio is just not a good basketball team. I'm putting that one down as one that should be a W. So, 4 out of the next 6, I think should be W's for this Kings team.
Not going to be easy, though, because, these teams outside of San Antonio, these teams, they all have guys that are, absolute, killers at times, right? You've got Embiid tomorrow night. Then you've got Ja and Steven Adams on Monday night. Then you've got Toronto with Siakam and Anunoby and stuff like that. That they got some talent on that team. Again, they just can't really shoot the ball. And then Minnesota's got talent. It's just whether or not they can put ththose pieces together, and they're 7-3 in the last 10. So it does seem like they're finding some kind of groove. So we'll see how it all plays out. I want to let you know that it is 4/12 on this Friday. We are at the International Sportsman's Expo at the Cal Expo. Time check brought to you by West Coast Men's Health Acoustic Wave Therapy.
Good time to vote Kings.
Great time.
Really, really good time to vote
Absolutely
Kings.
fantastic
Great
time
Yep.
to vote for those Kings,
Yes, it
folks.
is.
Frankie Cardicelli joins us to talk about those Kings in 90 seconds.
Sactown Sports goes 100% live and local.
From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Starting January 23rd. Tune into Carmichael, Dave, and Jason Ross from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. Followed by the return of Deuce and Mo.
Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Followed by Cattles and Ramie from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. You wanted more local? We're giving you more local on Sactown Sports. Your local sports leader.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm Mario, owner of Attic Man Heating and Air here in Sacramento. Is your furnace ready for the cold weather? Our furnace maintenance normally costs $69, but contact us today, mention this ad, and get it for only $49. We will send a technician out to go through your entire heating system, make sure your system is ready to tackle the cold weather. For only $49, this is a deal you cannot afford to pass up. Visit our 5-star Yelp page or book online at atticmanhvac.com. Locally owned and operated, home of the free diagnostic. atticmanhvac.com.
It's time to get caught up on what's going on in Kings Nation. And who better to do it than our guy, Frankie C. It's our Kings Cowboy, Frankie Cardicelli.
Frankie Cartacelli joining us here, as all guests do. You know what I'm about to say, the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Frankie C, always good to catch up with you, my man. Let's start with the easiest question of the day for you. What's the latest on Domas? Do we expect him to play tonight?
Oh, he's a full go. He's a full go. And, it's good news because that's getting you off on the right foot because birds are chirping into my ears saying there's a curse that might need to be broken tonight.
Yeah,
I have some family coming too, and they want to see a win, so hopefully we can break that curse. So, Domas, the team's being bit by a bug right now. It's going around. He was out there today at shoot-around, looked good, smile on his face. He was chucking half-court shots at the end, looked like he had plenty of energy. He's good to go.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do we know if that bug has worked its way out of the locker room, or is it still making its rounds?
I think it's taken some of its last victims right now. It started with Kevin Huerter a week or so ago, had a little, he was under the weather as well against the Rockets and missed a couple of games. And today we had Dellavedova, Len, Sabonis were back at practice, but Terrence Davis was out. So you have to hope that it stopped here, but it's that time of year where bugs go around, and these are all non-COVID illnesses, obviously. So that's thankful that it's nothing too serious, but never a fun time, especially when you're having to play with a shallow bench. And the Kings luckily have their guys back tonight, most of them, and they get to have Domantas Sabonis for a tough game against an up-and-coming Thunder team, and it's going to be a nice test for the Kings these next two games.
Frankie Cartacelli with us here, Cattles and Ramie, Sactown Sports. You just mentioned the bench, Frankie. This team is 6-2 over their last 8 5-game win streak. Chance to get another dub tonight at Golden One, but one player that's been struggling is Malik Monk. Monk is shooting 28.5% from three since December 1st. Is it officially time to be concerned about him?
No, he had a stretch where he struggled earlier in the season, and I think it was about late November into early December he had a rough stretch, and he worked his way out of it. These are kind of what guards go through. Kevin Huerter went through a streak where he was shooting around 20% from three as well, about a 10-12 game streak, and that's what these shooters go through. The best way to get out of these streaks is to shoot out of it, and that's what Kevin Huerter said. The best way to get out of these funks, you kind of got to play through it and just hope shots start to fall. And Malik Monk is somebody who's been in the league for 6 years now, and I think he's been through stretches like these before. This is what happens for all players, really, and it's hard to play well all of the time, and even for the best players, you can't play well every night. Every guy has a bad night, but some guys have bad stretches, and Malik right now, he's finding ways to create even though his shot isn't falling. The assists are there. That's something that makes him so valuable to this team, the fact that he's not one-dimensional. But you have to hope, the shots fall sooner than later, and you'll have one of those games sooner or later. I think that he pumps in 25, 27 points, but something he has to work through.
We've seen Mike Brown with the backup center role. It's been a revolving door, and Rashawn Holmes, after a very quick look early in the season, has not gotten another shot at it. We saw him pressed into action a couple nights ago with Domas out with the bug. Any inclination that maybe Rashawn Holmes earned another shot at that backup center role with what he showed on a couple nights ago?
It's tough to say. I think that he does. It's tough, though, because the Rashawn Holmes we see as a starter is not the Rashawn Holmes we see as a bench player. I think he's more comfortable in a starting role. What we saw last game, 7 for 7 from the field, I think he had 14 and 11. That was a regular Rashawn Holmes night a year or so ago, and I think that's just where he feels more comfortable. And coming off the bench and playing spot minutes, I think he only plays around 9-10 minutes, maybe 12 when he's backing up Sabonis, because Sabonis almost plays 40 minutes a night. It's kind of hard to get into a groove and get comfortable. And I think Mike Brown likes what he sees more from Chimezie Metu in that role because of his athleticism and the fact he's been rebounding the basketball more consistently. He's a lob threat. I just think Rashawn is more suited for an offense and for a team where he can start and get 30 minutes a night. But I do think from a talent standpoint, he's the Kings' second best big. I think it's just a matter of fit, and right now he doesn't really fit with this system. But Mike Brown, he's been known to switch things up, and I know that the Kings have a back-to-back. Maybe we see some different rotations on these back-to-back nights. The Kings obviously have a game tomorrow against 76ers who have some length. They have arguably the best center in the league in Joel Embiid, or second best center in the league behind Jokic. But it's going to be interesting to see what Mike Brown does, because Rashawn Holmes is somebody that I think is, like I said, the second best big, but right now just not really a place to put him.
Frankie Cartacelli from Sactown Sports is with us here on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Frankie, You just mentioned, Holmes talked about him. I think all of us understand and know that this team needs a legit backup center, backup big that does fit the system better. But I wanted to ask you about another need. Is it, with the up and down kind of bench production, is it time for Monty here in the next couple of weeks to try to find that scoring wing, a guy that maybe could be the 3-and-D wing to back up Barnes and Keegan?
Well, that'd be great. I mean, that'd be great if they find someone who can be a 3-and-D threat. I mean, obviously, I think that defense is going to be number one on the list for Monty. You have to find someone that can bring some kind of defensive punch. And they brought in a guy like Dozier, who I think the Kings like him, and maybe they'll start plugging him more here and there. They have another 10-day deal with him. But I think defense has to be number one. If they score, that's gravy. But I do think that they have enough scoring. I mean, you're seeing guys like Trey Lyles come off the bench, and they're scoring 10-plus points per game. Trey Lyles has been incredible over the past 10, 12 games. I think he's shooting around 50% from the field and from three. And Malik Monk, as we talked about, he's going through a rough stretch, but he's your guy. He's your sixth man of the year candidate, and when he's going, there's not many players in the league off the bench that can score more. But if you can find someone that can do both, that's great. But I think that Monty McNair is looking for a 3 or a 4 that can play really good defense, and obviously that goes hand in hand with the 5. I think they need 2 positions, in my opinion. They need a 3 or 4 and a 5 because they really need to shore up that depth. They're really going to make a run. And the fact that they're sitting here, we're almost to February. The Kings are the 3 seed in the West. They have a 3-4 game lead in the Pacific Division. We're getting to a point where it's going to be very disappointing if the Kings don't finish in the top 6. And I think that's a very realistic thing that can happen. So in order for that to happen, then they need to shore up the defense.
Frankie, have the players in the locker room been informed of the Cattle's curse, of its implications, and that Nick will be in the building tonight?
I have not informed them. Maybe I should. Maybe they'll put
No. I said yesterday, the only way curses work is if players know about them and it's in their head when they go out. That's the only way it affects their performance. Nick brought it up to Jay Triano yesterday. I was like, dude, what are you doing? We don't need them knowing that this is a thing and that you're going to be there. That's how it affects them. So if they haven't heard about it, Frankie, let's just keep that on the download. They don't even need to know Nick is in the building tonight.
Well, we'll keep it quiet, but at the same time, Nick knows he's a Red Sox guy. Like, you talk about the curse enough, it's going to get broken eventually. We have to hope that doesn't take 84 years or 84 games for that to happen for Nick's sake. But, let's really hope it doesn't happen. But I have to say, if they lose tonight, I don't know, Nick. You might need to go. I don't know. I don't really know if you have to get
far away
and bring it to the game. You have to figure something out.
He needs to stay far away is what needs to happen if they lose another one tonight.
Imagine if it took 84 games.
That would be into the playoffs.
You know the GIF with the old lady? What is it? 84 years?
84 years?
84 years.
Yeah.
That would be me. Frankie, I would say we appreciate you, but we really don't. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Okay. See you tonight.
See you tonight, Frankie C. There he goes, Frankie Cardacelli on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. You know what I realized the other day? And by the way, I do think that we need to look closer at Malik Monk. This isn't like a 2-week thing.
No, you're right. When you brought it up the other day, I went back and looked at his game log, and it's this is a long time going.
28.5% since December 1st from 3-point land.
Yeah,
we're almost 2 months deep. Anyway, you know what I realized?
What's that?
When I told everybody
they're still looking at
that
me?
I told everybody that I wasn't PD when I did that. Right, I was no longer PD. I thanked literally everybody with the station, other than Frankie.
How dare you, sir?
How dare you? I was like, I can't, and I didn't mean it.
Our Kings Cowboy.
And I didn't mean it.
Wow.
You even think Charles in digital over Frankie C.
I know. I thank somebody who doesn't even exist.
You thanked an imaginary
before I
person
thanked Frankie.
before you thanked Frankie.
Frankie probably took it personally too, and he should.
Wow.
I see him tonight. We might fight. We might have a fight on our hands.
It might come to that, huh?
I think he told his sister to ram her car in the back of you last night.
Oh. Bringing up a bad
Here's the plate number.
Subject. Yeah, I got his plates. Frankie Carter sounds like somebody who would try to send out a hit on my car.
Wow.
Frankie Cardacelli. I could say that. I'm part Italian.
Okay.
Cal Expo, International Sportsman's Expo. Isn't that the rules? That's the rules.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't offend
I
anybody.
make jokes other people can't make.
You're offending more people by sitting in front of the women's bathroom right now. Coming up, is it time to stop questioning Kyle Shanahan?
Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown.
So let's get to the 49ers here. We'll get back to the Kings, of course, in a little while. But the Niners, if you haven't heard, have a pretty big game this weekend against the Cowboys on Sunday. And as we know, Ramie, the Niners 14-4 this season. 14-4.
That's pretty good.
With 3 quarterbacks. 14-4 with 3 quarterbacks. They had a dominant second half against Seattle last weekend. One of the issues that people had, including this person right here in the first half of last weekend's game, was the run-pass balance. I didn't think it was good enough. I thought they threw the football too much. Kyle Shanahan, here he is in the Q&A being asked about just that.
2 passes and 9 runs in the first half, and it bounced out in the second half. Was it the initial plan, or just let it attack through the air, at least initially?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we knew we wanted to run the ball, and we thought it would end up we were hoping it would end up balanced towards the end. But we thought we had some good looks that we wanted to get, and we got some of them and capitalized on a couple. I thought we were doing a hell of a job in the first half, actually, offensively. But, they're tough sometimes. They do a good job of giving up some, but not letting you in the end zone. And for us to have all those yards, I think we had 8.5 yards of play, but I think we only had 13 points to show for it. So when you do that, you worry, and that's why you got to turn those big plays into touchdowns, and we were able to do that in the second half.
So, Ramie, you brought up this question during the meeting this morning. Is it time to stop questioning Kyle Shanahan?
And it was a question I had to ask myself, Nick, because I've questioned Kyle Shanahan throughout the season and was right there with you in questioning the run-pass balance in the first half last week. And Matt Mayoko, he does his 49ers overreactions every week for NBC Sports California. And a reader named Jeff, he asked Matt, and he said Shanahan needs a better game plan to start the game. Rookie throwing 19 times when he's obviously nervous isn't the answer. And Matt said that was an overreaction. And I was like, really? Was it? And then I started reading what he said, and I can move off a position. I can be convinced otherwise and consider that maybe I'm wrong. And his explanation makes perfect sense. He says the 49ers averaged 8.3 yards per offensive play in the first half. He says Shanahan's strategy to come out throwing served 2 purposes. It got Purdy into the fray right away, and it helped set up the run game. And he concludes making his point when he says each game is going to be a little different, of course. Ultimately, Shanahan strives for a 50-50 run-pass balance or run-pass split on offense, and that's the way it worked out. The 49ers had 33 running plays and 31 pass plays. I mean, if we take a small snapshot of something Kyle Shanahan does, Nick, and we nitpick it, like how many times they ran the ball in the first half, I think we're not really looking at the whole picture. We're not looking at the entire painting. We're just looking at a corner of it and going, his brushstrokes were sloppy down here. You know what I mean? And not considering that it was part of a grander scheme and a bigger plan. Kyle Shanahan knew what he was doing in running the ball as little as he did in the first half. You're setting teams up with your play calling. Sometimes the game dictates what you're doing. Sometimes you can dictate the game with your play calling. I'm done questioning Kyle Shanahan. I think the guy is 3 steps ahead most of the time, and he's playing 4D chess while I, in my relatively uneducated football brain compared to a Kyle Shanahan, I'm playing checkers, man. And at the end of the day, what he does makes sense, and almost all the time, especially this season, works. I'm done questioning Kyle Shanahan the rest of this year. I'm just going to sit back and watch Picasso paint.
Never stop questioning a coach. Never stop questioning really anybody.
I said for this year.
There's no such thing as somebody who is flawless. Nobody is above questioning.
How dare you?
Looking back, look, this is all a cute, nice little tidy picture that we could paint for Kyle Shanahan because of what happened in the second half last week. What happened in the second half last week wasn't all because Kyle Shanahan had the crystal ball and came up with the perfect game plan where he knew that they would be within 1 point at halftime, and then all of a sudden he would flip the script and he'd run the football. That's hindsight. It's a bunch of crap. I'm sorry, it's a bunch of crap. I don't know that
it is.
I appreciate Matt Mayoko, but it's a bunch of crap. Number one, when you go by yards per play, with that statistic with the Niners, it means nothing. Throw it out the window. They major in chunk plays. Yards per play means nothing when you have a 74-yard play from Deebo Samuel.
But if that's what they do, Nick, then I can't really take, because that's part of the game plan.
No.
Is getting the big chunk plays.
This is a way to explain away everything for Kyle Shanahan, and I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Here's the alternate theory, okay? I'll give you the alternate theory. Instead of Kyle Shanahan knew everything that was going to happen, and he had his game plan laid out to the point where he only ran 9 times in the first half so he can run a bunch in the second half, even though it was a 1-point game at halftime. He came out the first drive of the second half, 10 runs out of 13 plays. He ran the ball more in the first drive of the third quarter than he did in the entire first half. You know why I think he did that? Because they did not play well enough offensively in the first half, and he came out and said, we're going to do what we do best. We're going to run the football on this drive. We're going to run 10 out of 13 times. The reason why they won that game is because they went back to what they do best. It wasn't, oh, yeah, we're going to start. So you're telling me Kyle Shanahan walked into that game and said, I am going to put this game on Brock Purdy's shoulders, his first playoff game as a rookie. I'm going to put it all on him. This is the same coach that had Jimmy Garoppolo throw 8 times in a playoff game. You're going to tell me that the plan going into that game was to put it all on Brock Purdy. I'm not buying it.
I don't think it was to put it all on Brock Purdy. I think it was to get them on their heels and to get them thinking that he was dropping back to pass every time, and then you hit him with 10 rush attempts on the first drive.
Here's another problem I have with it. Again, the way the game ended, in the result, you can say anything, and Kyle Shanahan will look brilliant. How many passes did Brock Purdy miss in the first half? How many times did he almost throw an interception? At least 2 or 3 times. If one of those ends up a pick, then it changes the whole game. So, I mean, look, the second half, they were much more effective than the first half. So I'm not going to sit here and loop back around. He's a very good coach. Obviously, but I don't think you can just sit there and say, never question this guy, or I'm not going to question about last week, because the second half ended up playing out the way it played out.
If he wants a 50-50 split, and most weeks he comes out with a 50-50 split, don't you think there's a method to the madness? Even if we don't see it in the moment, that there's a method to the madness and he's going to get there one way or another?
It's all how the game plays out.
Sure.
If
they were down 20, then they're not going to have a 50-50 split.
If your game plan is to run in the second half and run from the start, you're thinking you're going to have a lead, so you don't have to worry about it as much. So it was a 1-point game at halftime. I just think once you go down this slippery slope, now we're going to sit there and you can always kind of massage something and come back around and go, oh, yeah, but he knew. No, how about just the first half? They didn't run the football enough. Like, why do we have to go back and circle to, like, Kyle Shanahan? Oh, no, he had this all mapped out.
This is all. He's a mad scientist.
This is all the plan to begin with.
I don't know what he's pouring in those vials and beakers. You know what I mean? I don't know those things.
Do you think he'd have, like, the Niners logo on his beaker?
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Yes. One of those birds just tried to fly at us a minute ago, by the way. I don't know if you saw me jump.
I'm contemplating calling the Attorney General's office. Find out why next.
Cattles
and Ramie.
Sactown Sports. Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm meteorologist Heather Waldman in the KCRA Weather Center. Temperatures plunge Friday night. We'll start Saturday in the low 30s, and we will have some patchy fog throughout the valley as well. Afternoon sun with a high near 50. Get the latest forecast on the
Live and local in the afternoon.
Always keep you on edge.
Cattles
And Ramie.
on Sactown Sports.
We'll get to the over-unders in a minute. But earlier in the show today, I shared the story of me getting into my second car accident in the last 5 months after not getting into one car accident in over 20 years as a driver. And that was how my day ended yesterday. How my day began was also ridiculous. So I'm not going to use any names because we would get in trouble.
Would we?
I think so.
Okay.
But I purchased my truck. I leased my truck for 3 years. I purchased my truck off of the lease back in December.
Uh-huh.
And
all sounds very standard.
Yeah, when I purchased the truck, I went into the financial office, right? And you got to sign all this paperwork. Now, I went in and I said, I will mention one name because it's been my bank for like 20 plus years, Bank of America. I've worked with Bank of America since I was young. They've stood by me. I've stood by them.
Did your bank account good yesterday? Because there were some issues with Bank of America yesterday.
Now you got me worried. I didn't check.
Okay.
So Bank
They
of
were
America.
trending for not good reasons. Sorry.
Did you not just hear me say a minute ago not to disparage companies?
No.
And then 30 seconds.
No,
later,
it was just an error. It was an error. But a lot of people had money missing from their account.
Great. Well, I'll now look later on.
Mistakes are made.
I'm going to look as soon as we're done with the segment. So
sure they fixed it.
I go in,
Fine
I say,
institution they are.
I go in, I say, hey, I got pre-approved for this loan from Bank of America. And, the guy says, all right, well, we'll run the APR versus our institution, our financial institution that we work with and see what better rate. Guy tells me Bank of America has a better rate. All right, awesome. Go to the financial office, fill out the paperwork, blah, 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 blah. Leave. Thank you very much. I got my truck. I got my loan all set. I called Bank of America a couple weeks ago. I said, hey, what should I be looking out for? They said, look, Mr. Cattles, we will send you something in the mail and also online to go along with your checking and savings and credit card and all that stuff that you got with us. Your loan, your auto loan will also show up. So I get no mail from Bank of America.
Strange.
I see nothing online from Bank of America. This week we get mail from some unknown finance corporation. They will remain nameless. That says I owe them this month for my truck payment. Like, wait a minute, this ain't Bank of America. I call Bank of America. Bank of America says, sir, we don't have an auto loan with you. Well, that's news to me because the dealership I was at told me that I was going to get the Bank of America loan. So now I got to call the dealership. Long story short, this guy in the finance department at the dealership never communicated to me that he, on his own accord, was going to pick the finance corporation that I would be.
Just took it upon himself.
Tens of thousands of dollars. I have a loan with a company that I've never worked with before.
And didn't ask to work with.
I go online. I look it up. 1.9 stars out of 5 for this company.
That's not good.
I go to the website. They don't even take credit or debit. You have to literally put your routing and bank number in.
It's not 2023
like it's 1997. They say, put here's your phone number. We're going to send you a verification code. They give you a 90-second countdown, Ramie, with the verification code.
Nothing more annoying.
Right?
Nothing more annoying.
They have my phone number. 90 seconds, I'm waiting. 90 seconds go by, no code. Go back in. Got to sign up all over again. Get another code. It'll be there 90 seconds. 90 seconds waiting. No code on my phone. What the hell is happening? I get up. I said, I'm taking a shower. I've had enough of this. Go take a shower. I come back out. 15 minutes later, both verification codes get sent to my phone.
That seems like it's not going to work at that point.
It actually did because nothing makes sense with this company, which is why they're 1.9 stars.
Their incompetence worked out for you in that case.
So I don't know. I have no idea what to do now. So I call
refinance.
I call a friend, and they said, look, go to the Attorney General's office, call them.
Dang.
And go to Consumer Protection with
That's
the AG's
serious
office.
business right there.
So I don't know if I'm going to do it or not.
That's what I should have done with my moving situation. Why didn't I think to go to the Attorney General?
I don't know. So I asked
Gave them all
I
my
asked the
money.
listeners, and I ask you, should I go to the AG's office?
I mean, if they won't resolve it in a manner that's suitable and acceptable to you, yeah, go through the proper channels.
Tony Dogs, dude, Nick, you really have bad luck.
Yeah, you do.
You don't know the half of it, Tony. There's a lot of personal stories I don't share on the air. You'd be shaking your head even more, my man. So yeah,
I was going to ask you if you want to do the rock climbing wall over there, but with your luck,
I'll fall off and die. So I will say this. The silver lining.
Yeah.
The rate with this podunk fakakta finance corporation is better than the rate that I got from Bank of America.
Keep it.
No, because it's like it comes out to like, I don't know, what, $3 difference with this company?
Hey, $3 over how many years?
Their website? My God. All right, anyway, let's get to over-unders.
Payments are going through.
It's been quite a 36 hours for your boy. All right, let's start. Jacksonville. Jacksonville at Kansas City. 53, Ramie.
53 points between these two teams. Yeah, I think they could put up 53 points between these two teams. Sure, I'm going to take the over.
By the way, people are telling me to go to the AG's office. I might place a phone call.
Seems like a lot of work.
I was proud of myself, man, because I don't think I cursed at the guy once, who was the financial officer at the dealership. I was as pleasant as I could be under the circumstances.
I'm not that way.
I was stern though. I gave him the business. I just didn't, drop a bunch of F-bombs at him.
I think I almost scared off my girlfriend in some of the phone conversations with the moving company.
Oh, that whole thing! My goodness. I would have gone looking for him in that case.
She was looking at me like, "Who is this person?"
All right, I'm gonna go over 53. Kansas City, Jacksonville. Casey's good for 35. JJ,
Same thing. Give me the over. KC doesn't have a good as defense as people believe. I think the Jags at least will put up 21.
Chris is going to tell you Patrick Mahomes will put up 53 by himself, right?
Patrick Mahomes could put 53 up by himself, so I'm going with the over.
All right, Giants at the Eagles, 48.
You know what? I think this one is a bit of a slobber knocker.
Nice, Jim
like
Ross.
it is in 2023, yeah.
and a low-scoring game. I'm going to take the under.
I actually agree with you. I'm going to go under. It feels like an NFC East slugfest. I go under.
Same thing. I'm taking the under.
Man, I'm also taking the under.
Look at us, huh? We're just all agreeable today on a Friday. Cincinnati at Buffalo, 48. What say you, Ramie?
48, Cincinnati and Buffalo. You got Josh Allen. You got Joe Burrow. I'll take the over.
All right, so I am going to say over. Give me the over. Burrow's going to throw touchdowns. Josh Allen's going to have one or two alien plays. Give me the points. Over.
Same thing. I'm following you, Nick. The over. Think the Bills put up 30 easy.
Also going over.
Look at us again, agreeable on a Friday. Dallas at San Francisco. Sunday. 46 is the number.
Do we know the weather Sunday in Santa Clara?
Not supposed to rain.
Not supposed
as of
to
right
rain.
now.
I'll take the over. I'll take the over in this one.
I'm going to go over.
All right.
I'm taking the over.
I think, look, in San Francisco, it's not all because of Brock Purdy, but
boring.
They are scoring 30-plus points since Brock. So, I mean, do you believe Dallas can put up 16? I think so.
Also
Chris?
going over.
It's Agreeable Friday today, ladies and gentlemen. Agreeable Friday. 4:54 on this Friday. Time to check out COSI Medical Clinic, dedicated to providing breakthrough remedies for men.
Bo Kings.
The time has come.
Has it?
Yes.
Now?
Just a few moments from now.
Oh.
The final item to break the cattle's curse will be revealed. Also, what did a national pundit say about Domas that got Ramie's attention? All that coming up next.
Cattles and Ramie.
And Luka the Don, he's taking on the Heat. They're leading 14-8 with 5 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first. Those are your Sac Sports 1140 headlines. I'm Jay Johnson. Coming up, more of the Cattles and Ramie show.
Cattles and Ramie.
Cattles and Ramie.
Sactown Sports.
To update JJ's update just a second ago, literally 30 seconds ago, Sean Cunningham tweeted out that Terrence Davis is available to play tonight for the Kings. So Kings are fully healthy.
Technology.
And look, that's exactly what we need tonight because we all know what's happening. We have deemed this the Cattle's curse. The Kings have not won a game when I've walked into the Golden One Center, folks. Ofer.
Big goose egg.
Now, yesterday, what did we say the combined record was for all you guys? Was it something like 14-3 or something crazy?
Like that, yeah.
All right, so, Ramie and Vlad and JJ and Simone. Simone's 5-0. They're all doing work.
We've all seen the beam up close and personal.
I have not.
You have not.
I continue to lose. So here's what we've been doing all week long. Each person with the show has brought in a good luck charm for tonight's game because I'm going to the game with Kelly, and we got to break this curse. It started with JJ. JJ's Juju brought in the cowbell. So we get the cowbell from JJ. Then yesterday we had Simone come in. Simone Sorcery brought the quartz crystal in for good luck. So there's that. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com, Sactown Sports 1140, don't forget to like us, give us a thumbs up. Little effort from you means an awful lot to us. So there's this quartz crystal. And then Vlad also yesterday brought in the Kings bowling shirt.
Look at that.
So there you have it, right? Now the bowling shirt is going to be. I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do with it. We're going to bring it. We're going to bring it in.
What are you going to do with it?
Well, it's like 40 degrees out. We're going to bring it in, and I think we're going to keep it. If things start to go bad, that's when we're going to break it out and wear it.
You got to wear it to the game. Just put a hoodie under it. You can put a hoodie under that. It's a solid look.
I might wear it over the hoodie. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you got to
All
wear
right,
it.
so maybe I'll wear it over the hoodie.
Wear it.
But here's the thing. So the Kings are on a 5-game win streak. And I've said this, and I'm not kidding. I have legit concerns.
Here comes the cooler.
I have legit concerns that I single-handedly am going to ruin this win streak. That I am going to be the reason why the Kings lose tonight.
Have you seen A Bronx Tale?
Yes, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Put him in the bathroom.
So
we're gonna have to put you in the bathroom if they lose this game tonight.
So we've had all of these items. We've had all of these items out throughout the entire show, and now it's time. And I'm also nervous about this because you never know what Ramie's going to do. Ramie's you're a wild card. I don't know what you're going to do.
I
So
think that is a compliment.
we've gotten to the time, and we're going to get to a national pundit, by the way, and what that pundit had to say about Domas that caught Ramie's attention. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But now it is time for Ramie to give me the fourth and final item to try to break the Cattle's curse tonight.
You know I'm somewhat new to the kingdom, right?
You are.
I don't have a lot of Kings
Very true.
related
Very true.
paraphernalia
Yes.
items to give out. But I did go to my first Kings game.
You did.
Last week.
You did.
And the Macloff Magic was so strong that not only did they win, they blew them out. They blew Houston out.
Yes, which really compounds the issue of the Cattle's curse, because when I went to the game, the last game I went to, they got blown out by like 20 by the Wizards.
Not only did they win, it was supposed to rain all night. The skies opened up so that me and my lady could walk to the game. It was a beautiful night. In fact, we walked there, we walked back, we got a little Mexican food. I got on NBC Sports a few times, Nick, because I had the special VIP seats.
Yes.
And on NBC Sports, I was clanking together the noisemakers.
I didn't know that you were on that.
Yes, sir. Multiple times. So I bring you Nick Cattle's noisemakers, doused, soaked in Macloff Magic. Those things are famous. Those things have been on television.
Yes.
So you, sir, have now been blessed with the King's noisemakers.
You're definitely going to want to use some sanitizer there, Nick.
I need those back. I'm going to need those back, though.
All right, so Ramie brought the noisemakers. So the noisemakers go with the
cowbell?
bowling shirt, the cowbell, and the quartz crystal.
Imagine how much noise you and Kelly could make between the cowbell and the noisemaker.
Too much. Too much noise. Too much noise. But we're not gonna I think Kelly will man these.
Oh, that's weak. You got to use them to their fullest power. There you go. There you go. There it is.
All right.
There it is.
The question I have now for you, Mr. Cattles, is you definitely going to have a handful of things. So are you coming with the luggage?
Yeah, you guys didn't make it easy. Like the cowbell and the quartz crystal. Okay.
Right.
I guess I'll go wear the shirt.
Yeah, you can wear the shirt. They literally give these away at Kings games. This is too cumbersome. I got this at a Kings game.
It's okay. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
The duffel bag. You got the duffel bag in the truck.
Nick wears the bowling shirt. He keeps the crystal in his pocket. He carries the cowbell. Kelly takes the noisemakers. Boom. Curse broken.
Can you text that plan to me?
Curse broken. Will do.
All right.
Immediately.
Simone
you want
says
a rally towel?
Simone says she's feeling good.
You can bring a rally towel. Sacktown Sports rally
She's
towel.
feeling
with you
good
if you want. Throw that on the pile.
Let's put this up there.
There you go.
Show that there.
You get one of those out here at the Sportsman Expo.
Hey, here we go. All right, so we'll see if this works. We'll see if this works. If this doesn't work,
no, it's gonna work.
This doesn't work.
It's gonna work.
Simone feels good about it. You feel good about it.
It's gonna work.
Me, not so much. When you carry a curse around, Ramie, it's a heavy weight.
You can't go in with that type of mindset.
It's a heavy weight.
No, you got to go in positive, man. Because you have to believe. Remember we were talking about what Mike Brown said? A team that believes is a dangerous thing. I think Cattles that believes.
It's a dangerous thing.
It's a dangerous thing.
All right, let's get to. I will take a picture of all these items during the break. I'm gonna tweet it out, tweet it into the ether. See if we can get some good vibes out there before this game tips, and we'll see if all this works. I mean, we've gone through a lot here this week to try to get rid of this curse, and hopefully it pays dividends.
I think
Sticking
I
with
got
the
my
Kings.
swagger back. Oh,
yeah. Oh. All right, sticking with the Kings. Domas at shoot around. He's a go. He's available tonight. Hopefully that helps as well.
That's good.
And this team, and including Domas, getting lots of national attention and love lately, Ramie. And we saw, of course, Domas and Foxy on ESPN NBA Today this week. And JJ Redick, his podcast, The Old Man and the Three, he was getting into a conversation about Domas and his passing ability and who he is as a big man. And here's where that conversation landed.
Dude,
I said this.
The way he plays, there's not really anyone else.
This is not a disrespect to Sabonis, but it is Jokic light. He's not a poor man's Jokic because he's awesome.
And he's going to be on the All NBA team with him.
Yeah.
So Ramie, that got your attention.
That's some awfully high praise and elite company that Domas is being put in with there, and to say he's going to be on the All NBA team. And Nick, I know you've been saying things along these lines for a while now, even before I got here, in terms of him being, as Redick termed it, Domas light. But for that narrative to get to the national stage, we've been talking about how the narrative and the perception of the Kings has slowly but surely been turning, and they're no longer the punchline or the laughing stock of the NBA or somebody who teams put a W up on the schedule next to them when they're looking ahead.
Right.
To me, that's a pretty big thing, man, to be put in the same sentence, in the same breath as a guy who's working on 3 straight MVP awards. You know what I mean?
I'd like to welcome JJ to the party. I appreciate it. I've been waiting for his presence. I sent the invite out. The idea that Domas is Jokic light. I've been saying this. I've been a big fan of Domas since he got into the league. I was talking about Domas before I was even here in Sacramento. I was talking about Domas before he got traded here to Sacramento. And I've said for a long time, Ramie, that he is the second best passing big man in basketball behind Jokic. And I believe that. And I think the more this guy gets eyeballs on him, the more appreciation and respect he's going to garner. I mean, don't forget, he played for Oklahoma City. That's a very, very small market.
Yep.
He played for Indiana. That's a smaller market. It's closer to Sacramento, but You don't see a lot of Pacers games on television, right? And yes, early on in his Kings career, we haven't seen a lot of Kings games on national TV, but 7 games above 500, chance to get to 8 tonight, 3 seed in the Western Conference. I do think ESPN will show more Kings games in the second half of the season. I honestly believe that. And the more people that talk about this guy, he's going to start getting the respect that he deserves. And he is the second best passing big man in basketball. And I also think, one more thing I would say, this just highlights what Monte McNair has done with this team and how he has constructed this team. Because what he did was he brought in a bunch of shooters over the offseason, right? He added the shooters to surround Domas. He also brought a coaching staff in, and we discussed this when it happened. Mike Brown with his history with Draymond Green and, a big man who passes. Jordy Fernandez coming from Denver, his experience with Jokic and some of the plays they would run in Denver off of Jokic in that action. And that set this up where Domas is playing his best basketball of his career. And I would also say shout out to Foxy, because Foxy was the guy here. Mm-hmm. And Foxy could have made this transition tough on Domas. Foxy could have battled Domas and said, no, I want the basketball in my hands. I want to be the guy who facilitates.
They seem to genuinely like each other and love playing together.
Absolutely. And what Foxy did was he subjugated his ego, and he said, no, we're going to run the offense through Domas because that makes us better. So I think Monty and Foxy deserve an awful lot of credit for what's going on with Domas. And of course, Domas deserves the most credit because he's the guy doing it. 5:13.
That's a good word.
You're welcome.
Big word.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Double word score on that.
I try. 5:13.
4 syllables.
Every once in a while, I'll throw one out. 5:13 on a Friday. Time check is brought to you by West Coast Men's Health Acoustic Wave Therapy. 90 seconds. It's time to say goodbye to a member of the show.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with
to be a little bit biased, but hopefully the listeners feel the same way. I feel like we've really kind of acquired a pretty good vibe between the four of us. And so, losing Chris is going to be tough on the show because he's been part of the fabric. The sweet part of it, again, is that Chris is going to be able to go work with Deuce and Mo, two people that, he knows well. He works well with. By the way, people on YouTube are telling us there's no sound, so they've missed this. They've missed this entire conversation.
It was nothing but nice things.
So if you're just joining us and can hear us, as I just mentioned, we went through it. Verlad's going to be leaving us. Today is his last show. He's going to go work with Deuce and Mo in the midday. He has, they're all friends. So I think I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think Chris is pretty excited to be able to work with two people that he knows and trusts and enjoys working with. But it's tough on us because we're going to lose one of our guys, and I think we've started to kind of get that vibe and gel. But things happen, and we're growing as a brand, and now one of our guys has to move on and go work in the midday with Deuce and Mo.
Yeah, man, going to be hard to replace. That's a big chair to fill there. That Verlad is going to leave empty. I think he adds a lot of the fun and the funny to the show.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Growing up, Nick, I know you were a sports radio nerd in the town you grew up in. I was a sports radio nerd in the town I grew up in. And I always loved a show that could include just funny little drops and sound bites. And doing that, there's an art to doing that and the timing of doing that without interrupting a show and throwing off the rhythm and the flow of a show. And I've been doing this for, 15, 16, 17 years. I haven't had the chance to work with anybody who's as skilled at adding that element to a show as Chris Verlad is, on top of everything else that he does in terms of his on-air contributions when he cracks the mic open. Man, it's gonna be some tough shoes to fill there with Chris Verlad stepping away.
No doubt. I'll finish it with this, fellas. Is since I've come back to Sacramento, which I believe is about 6 years now, if I'm correct. Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I've only worked with Chris minus 3 or 4 months when I came back and started working the morning show. So me and CV have actually been working with each other for the last so many years. And, man, he's helped me tremendously. He's become a friend. He's become a family member. And to the point, like, look, I'll leave it like this. I don't invite too many people to my house, but I've invited Chris to my house. And as you say, Ramie, it's an open invitation.
Chris, again, I'm bummed that we had to do this the way the schedule worked out, man. Of course, we end up having to do this on the road, and we haven't even been able to hang out with Chris his final day on the show. But the floor is yours, my man.
And real quick, I just want to say thank you, CB.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, my man.
You guys it's been a pleasure working on the show. It's been fun. I didn't know any of you guys when you came in, and that's always a little scary. But I think we got well on pretty quickly. I think we all got like a feel of how we are. And that's one of the tough things when you bring in new people, other people leave. That's always tough to bring in that connection. And I thought it was pretty easy for us. So I want to thank you guys. You've always made this easy. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy. Again, I'm happy for Chris. He's still going to be with the brand. He's going to be with us. He'll be on the show right before us, so we'll see him plenty. And I'm going to text him tonight. I might be going to one of our favorite spots tomorrow. If I do, I'll see if he wants to meet up with us and have some beverages. But needless to say, he's not going to be on the show with us anymore. But he certainly, sure as hell, is going to be within the family, and we'll still hang and we'll still talk. And again, I'm also happy for him because it's an opportunity. All right, let's get to the quickest on the record we've ever done.
Some things just need to be recorded, and we aren't talking about on TikTok. We're talking about predictions and guarantees.
It's on the record.
But off the record, I can't stand those.
All right, going on the record. The Cattle's curse is snapped tonight.
Oh,
yes,
go.
Let's go.
Home run. Home run.
Pointing over the wall. We're each getting one?
Yes.
Getting one?
We each get one.
2 upsets in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs this weekend. 2 upsets.
2 upsets.
Yes, sir.
You going to name them or just 2 upsets?
No, just 2 upsets.
All right, just 2 upsets.
Play it a little safe here.
What do you think, triple?
Yeah, give him triple.
All right, we'll give you a triple.
Cattles,
Curse, by the way.
Cattles is a home run.
That's a home run. Yeah, call me shot. That's a
if we
home
get
run.
the curse done with, that's absolutely
that's
a home
run on all accounts.
All right, JJ, what do you got?
I'm going to save my Domas for next week. I'm going to say both Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel will both have 100 yards receiving.
Brandon Ayuk and Deebo both have 100 receiving.
That's a home run.
Yeah, that's a home run.
2 100-yard receivers is a hard thing to pull off.
I'll go a home run with that. I'll roll with a home run. Vlad, what you got?
All right, I'm gonna name one of the upsets that Ramie didn't want to name, and I kind of teased it earlier. The Giants are gonna beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not going by any stats.
Giants will beat the Eagles.
I'm not going by any stats. I'm just going by my gut.
What do you think?
Good.
It's for sure a triple.
That's a triple, yeah.
Triple? All right, we'll go with a triple. So there you go.
And I believe Simone will be taking my on the record into the new week.
She inherits your record?
I do think so.
Okay.
All right. So
That's
Simone will be joining us on Monday. So as Chris moves out to go to midday, Simone will slide in and she'll be part of the show starting on Monday. We're very excited about that.
Vlad, if there are any more tamales left, just leave them in the freezer on your way out. I'll get them on my way in.
Oh, actually, I do. I forgot to give them to Nick. They're in the freezer.
I know.
Right
he won't appreciate
Kelly's
those.
tamales. They were for Kelly.
Put my name on them.
You selfish.
Man, come on, Ramie. You can't take the tamales.
No, I would have taken from Kelly.
I was going to say something, but it would have sounded bad.
From Nick, I would. I won't take him from Kelly.
Okay, see tonight, fellas. Again, Cattle's Curse on the line.
It's over.
I think Foxy and SGA are going to have a duel tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if each guy has like 30.
I wouldn't be shocked.
60 points combined from those two guards tonight. I wouldn't be shocked.
Your boys got the recap show. YouTube.com
That's right.
/Sactown Sports.
Oh, man. Nick, you might have to call in or dial in or something if the curse is
link.
not broken.
I'll send you the link to join the show while you're walking.
Well, he's
out
in the car,
arena.
right? So
yeah, I'm gonna have to do something, huh? I'm gonna have to.
you have to either way. Curse
if they break
broken
the
and-
curse, you got to find a way to
You
link
gotta
you
get
up
it
to the
in.
show.
But how can I do that? I don't know how I can do that.
You can do it from your phone, can't you? I'll
Yeah, you
text
can
the
do it
link
from
to
your phone. Yeah.
I'll just text the link right to your phone. You can,
and you'll be in the
you'll be right there in the show, right in the studio.
All right.
the just hitting the back truck.
We want to see a live shot of the beam on the.
Oh, that'd be very cool.
I'll try to be in good condition for that call.
Good luck with that. I was in no condition last week. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, we all saw that, Ramie.
I text Ramie on Saturday. I was like, "What you doing, man?" He's like, "Nah."
Me, my girl, the dog, and the couch today. That's it. That is it.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Lots of water. I need lots of water.
We'll see if we can break the curse again. Thanks to Chris, man. I'll hit you up with a text. See if we can get together this weekend. Maybe we can get Ramie and Emily out. Maybe get JJ out. JJ's always flying around the world. I don't know what he's going to be doing, but we'll see if we can get together. Everybody have a good weekend. Be safe, be healthy, be well. Let's go, Kings. Maybe 6 in a row. Better be 6 in a row. Thanks to JJ. Thanks to Chris. Thanks to everybody here that helped put this thing together at the Cal Expo. Ramie, I'll talk to you tonight.
Yes, sir.
And till Monday, Cattles and Ramie, Sactown Sports.
Towels, soap, and
right.
backcloth magic.
We'll wipe her out as in detergent. Now hurry, go on to the altar. I know you ain't a